looks like the fire originated on the first floor, spread throughout, and as of right now, the fire is not under control at this time.
Questions for the commissioner?
Commissioner, obviously you've got a lot of apparatus here. What's the challenge with this particular fire? Very old building, brick building. I imagine that's very difficult to put out.
Yes, and we have to maintain our standoff distance because a couple of the walls are compromised. We have bricks falling, things of that nature. And also, of course, we're concerned about firefighter safety. This is the same platoon, the same crews that fought the fire at the Pink the day before yesterday. So we have to have the rest plan, recovery plan for them as well. So we have to keep an eye on that.
Is this the same crew that was at the old Pink?
Yes, it is. The same crew. It's the same platoon that's working that worked the old Pink. That's correct. Yes. So that was only day before yesterday. So obviously, we have to keep an eye on their rest and recovery.
Obviously, this building's been vacant for a very long time. To my knowledge, there was no power going into it. It has a history of squatters inside. I know it's very early. What is the investigation leading towards right now, if you're even able to have one?
Yeah, it's way too early. We can't even gain access to the building yet. As I said before, the fire started on the first floor, spread it through all 4 floors at this time, and we're having a hard time getting access to all the parts of the building we want to. So we anticipate we're going to be here for several hours.
I have to imagine that at this point, this building's a total loss. Any word of an emergency demo at this point?
It's too early at this point, but as I said, a lot of the walls, the roof has been compromised. Some of the walls have been compromised, so it doesn't look good at this point.
How does the fact that this is a building in dispute, legal dispute, play into your initial investigation?
Well, right now, our focus is on containing the fire, keeping it from spreading to adjacent structures, firefighter safety, and protecting the public. That's where our focus is right now.
No one inside, right?
No one's inside.
Anything else? Commissioner, I know you were asked this earlier. Can you just address the firefighters working in these hot, humid conditions?
Yes. I mean, it's a little less strenuous because it's not an offensive operation; it's more of a defensive operation. But still, spending hours, several hours in turnout gear, SCBAs, that kind of thing, it's really draining. So, once again, that's up to the leadership, the incident commander, the division chief on scene, to rotate crews, keep them fresh, and keep them rested.
Are we good?
Thank you, Commissioner.
Councilman Nowakowski?
Councilman Nowakowski, you've been...
Just send her up here, Councilman.
Councilman Nowakowski, this building has been on your radar for quite some time. It is a disputed building, from what I understand. A ruling was expected very soon on the eminent domain between the city and the property owner. What do we know about the situation?
So the first thing I want to say is that I want to thank the Buffalo Fire Department for swiftly responding to this. As you know, it's a really sad day in the Fillmore District, yet again, as the Pink was also in my district. So these are 2 catastrophic fires, which could potentially lead to both of them being demolished. They're both in historic districts. As you've mentioned before, the city has provoked and moved forward with eminent domain. We are 8 days after the hearing return date from the state's highest court, with a previous court's ruling agreeing with the city's use of eminent domain. I think we could start breaking down that we need to take every precaution as we possibly can as a city, and to make sure that this is investigated to the fullest extent, and so that we understand how this was able to happen. And I can't speculate any further because that would be unfair. This is probably one of the most disputed Buffalo buildings that we have in the city, as you know. It's been in and out of housing court and court cases for 15 years. This is a shame that we allow landlords to do this in the city of Buffalo, that we allow the delay of courts for over a decade to allow this to happen. Because the city, and when I became council member, worked very swiftly to start taking these historic structures into eminent domain because of the failure of a landlord for over a decade, well over a decade. These buildings are the oldest structures here in the Cobblestone District, which contribute to it actually being a historic district. So as you can tell, this is a pretty sad day for me. And this is a pretty sad day for historic districts, for the city of Buffalo, and for the residents and the people who appreciate our architecture and what makes us really Buffalo.
Just to clarify, Councilman, the ruling was expected within 8 days, or the court was reconvening in 8 days?
The court, from the last time I had spoken with Corporation Counsel on June 10th was the return date from the court. We're 8 days from that. I have not heard the legal status from Corporation Counsel yet.
obviously, you mentioned earlier the pink, now this. Obviously, these Buffalo Fire crews working on the same fire. Tough day for your district, is now?
It's incredibly tough day. I mean, this is, I have the same crew, the same fire crew in the same district, 2 days apart, fighting catastrophic fires that rapidly progress. The smoke, when coming down here, engulfed Canal side. I mean, it was very expansive. I got text, emails, tweets from folks who were on the water, who were walking on Canal side. And unfortunately, I had a pit in my stomach when I was looking at some of the photos because I just knew it was 110 and 118 South Park.
You know, obviously, it's been on your radar for quite some time. You're clearly upset regarding the delays in the court, the process in the court with the building owner. As a councilman, what can you do to move that along so potentially this doesn't happen to other historic buildings? So
I did everything a council member could do. And so really where it stalled was the courts rendering a decision. The city has the rights and the obligation to write up and inspect and bring it to court where a judge has to make a ruling. And this is where we're at. I mean, this has been 14 to 15 years where I was in high school when this began in city court. Should have been adaptively reused. It's been from the pre-Civil War and has been adaptively reused throughout the century. Why is it so ridiculous that I, as a council member, don't want a historic structure to fall down for a surface parking lot? I mean, this has been a fight, and you know, to me, I think that if you're going to call yourself a Buffalonian, you have to love our beautiful architecture that cannot be replicated ever again. Our built environment helps define us as Buffalonians.